Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. The IPL Carnival continues. Today was Lucknow Super Giants registering another win, 6 wickets, 2 balls to spare. It looked like they would cruise to victory, but it wasn't as easy as you thought. That pitch was a bit difficult. There was a lot of questions on Delhi Capitals' batting intent, but we realized that it wasn't that easy of a pitch to bat on. And I think we'd scrutinize more their bowling, especially Henrik Nokia coming back after injury. We won't be too tough on him, but there'll be plenty of discussion. Don, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm just trying to think of what pitch yesterday Cummins, today Prithvi Shaw and Quinton de Kock. What pitch are these guys? I mean, Cummins is just. I mean, it was like a freak show. You can't
Yeah.
really limit that. But today we saw Shaw get off to a blinder of a start, and he gave the impetus to Delhi. But nobody else was even able to like connect bat to ball. We saw like Evan Lewis was struggling, Deepak Hooda was struggling, Pandya. Sorry, not sorry. I'm talking about the Rishabh Pant was struggling, Roman Powell was struggling, Sarfaraz was struggling. Just it just wasn't working out for them. So it just didn't make sense for me as to why a couple of players are able to, like Quinton de Kock and Prithvi Shaw are able to, but no, some of the others were not able to. Even in the Lucknow team, Deepak Hooda, even Lewis, these guys were struggling. So it's just odd to
KL
see
Rahul
that.
as well.
KL Rahul as well, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
odd to see that because these are top quality batsmen. You're not talking about talking about like the mainstay middle order batsmen for in KL, Rishabh, Roman Powell. We've seen the power that he possesses. So it was a little surprising to see that. We saw it yesterday, but I thought it was a one-off. But we saw it again today. So how that's happening is something that I think teams will need to think about. If it continues to happen for a couple more games, I think a lot of questions will be asked as to the if there's an intent issue, if there's like trying too hard. I don't know what it is, but something will need to be thought about on those lines. But I think Lucknow Super Giants, I'm very happy with the performance. I think not everyone was giving them a too much of a go after their kind of the way they. I thought they bought well, but I think they were not the favorite, so to say. But I think they're heading strong. Now 6 points for them and KKR. So some of the other teams are lagging behind already.
Yeah, I think there was more. Their starting 11 was extremely strong. I think the more worries about the squad and everything,
Back
but
up.
I think Badoni's changed everything. Like
Yeah.
the way he's batted, he's really made this squad look better now. The team was always solid, the 11, but we didn't know about Badoni. We didn't know about some of these players, right? And Avesh Khan, we didn't know how much if he's going to step up to that level without Rabada and Nokia,
Yeah.
but he stepped up. So I think credit.
Bishinoy is also bowling well.
Vishnu is bowling amazing.
Yeah.
So I think on paper they were for me one of the best teams. I had them in my top four. I've done. I don't know how many top fours I've done, but the one with the even Sunrisers were in that one left me just because I felt that on paper they have a very balanced squad and there's still Stoinis to come. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's a very good team. But if you're talking about Prithvi Shaw, extremely talented, and I think he's shown today that this is what he has, and this is why we're backing him. I think for him it's more of a mental thing, also a physical thing in terms of fitness. If he can just work on these things, he's going to be that talent that India are looking for him in Shubman Gill. But I think now is the time for these guys to work really hard. It's not about shining right now, but it's about working hard, putting in the hard hours, because in 2 3 years time you'll be depending on them in the Indian team as well.
Absolutely. I think Ricky Ponting was critical of Prithvi Shaw after the second game. 2 times he got out of the pull. Ricky Ponting is not someone who's going to take these things easily. You can get away with a few things with Ricky, but I don't think this is one of those. So I think he probably got him like he got a good talking to for Prithvi. It probably sat him down and really spoke to him and just said, this is enough. Try, like we know you got the talent, and also I think that knowing the kind of personality Shaw is, I think he would have taken it positively, and I think he showed today that why he's one of those players out there. One quick comment as an ex Sunriser player, David Warner, we didn't miss him that much, did we?
I was just looking at that strike rate, 4 of 12,
12.
30. Didn't miss him that much. Now I think that a real test is when he plays Sunrisers because he'll have that extra fire in him. But I think you mentioned this off air that there is a slow kind of decline. It's not a decline, but there's a slow kind of thing. He had an amazing World Cup as well, but you have to understand he's 35 as well. How many years does he have? He's an IPL legend in my eyes. Probably.
Absolutely.
But yeah, maybe like it's more about Delhi. The combination does work though. Shaw and Warner, it does work because you
Yeah,
have an
yeah.
experienced guy and a young guy. So I think for a Delhi, it's a good buy. It's a very good buy. Now it's just about him stepping up and
Yeah,
scoring those runs. It's been one
absolutely.
game he's come, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think he'll still have a few good games. He'll make your money's worth. He's a
Hopefully,
six. Yeah,
otherwise it'll be tough. Even Rodman Powell struggled. I think he was so good against England in the T20s. I was disappointed with the way he batted. Strike rate of 30. But even then, for me, where Delhi lost the game, I don't know if you agree with me. Despite these strike rates, I'm saying opposite to yesterday. They lost because of Nokia, like the no
okay.
balls. And I don't want to be tough on him because he's coming back from an injury. It's not easy. But you could clearly tell he's not fully fit. Like he's bowling above the waist, no balls, and they two balls to spare. Those two no balls count a lot.
No, I think I mean Nokia was probably a big problem. I think what 2 overs, 36 runs or something. What was it?
Yeah, 35. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 35 runs in 2.2. I mean any world class bowler will be upset with those kind of results. But yeah, like you said, it's just one game back. I'm pretty sure he's going to come back strong. My problem is I think with the Delhi batting unit at this point in time, I feel like having Roman at 3 doesn't make sense for me. I think it's more like Sarfaraz at 3, play Punt at 4, play Roman is your finisher. She should be at like 5, because then after that again you have the likes of Akshar and Lalit Yadav and these guys. So you need a little bit more steel over there. So I think maybe they just wanted to continue with what Shaw left off, continue where Shaw left off to really take the impetus to get that 200, and that's why I think they lost the game. In trying to go for that 200 score, they lost out on, and they were about 15-20 runs short. If they had 160, they were in the game.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate that they lost out by 10-15 runs more. And I think that they have to look into that. I think Sarfaraz at 3, Punt at 4, Rahman at 5, and then
Sarfaraz
continue
was
with like.
decent towards the end. He had a good strike rate, decent strike rate as well. He was decent.
Yeah, I think that's why I'd recommend him at 3, because I think he can get going also if needed, and he can play the sheet anchor also if needed. I think he's a little bit better suited for that number 3 than a Roman Powell who's come from ball 1. He's expected to go boom boom. So maybe just look into that a little bit. But overall, I think yeah, Delhi will be upset. They now 2 games in a row. They're not used to this. They're used to winning consistently. So now 2 games in a row out of the 3 that they've lost. So they won't be very happy. And now with almost them with the Mumbai, Chennai, and Sunrisers are already, there's that gap that's starting to formulate. With KKR, Lucknow Super Giants running away with it. So it's going to be tricky. If Punjab lose a couple more games, Punjab certainly is in this lower side, and then the other 4 teams are starting to create that gap in the points, which is still a long tournament. We're still only 3 games in for everyone, so there's still a lot of time. But something to keep in mind that some teams are starting to take that and go forward now. With Gujarat, if they win tomorrow, then they have 6 out of 6 points.
Yeah.
So they're suddenly then again with the top 3 in there, and then the others are starting to look black behind.
And it's crazy. This is why they're professional players, but it's crazy that 2 new teams who haven't played
Doing well.
each other, the franchise doesn't exist. You don't know anybody in the management, owners, nothing, and you're suddenly doing well, right? Like this is why the professionals they've played with each other in different parts, and they're bringing into that. But it's not easy. You're a completely different franchise, and you don't have as many supporters, right? You're still building a support base, and I think especially Gujarat will have a big base. So will Lucknow, especially if they have a team like this.
Yeah.
You saw Krunal Pandya finished it off as well, 19 of 14. Quinton Guides for me was a class, like you mentioned. Player of the match?
Badoni. I'm just messing. I think I'm just really excited about the talent of this guy.
I'm not that surprised. You can go.
No. I think Quinton de Kock. I think
he's
because
been the player of the tournament
so far. I think because he's just the attitude of this young Indian youngster. You never heard of him at all. He comes in and he's just been on fire.
He changes the whole batting lineup, right? Like
and you consider that's why they could consider dropping a Manish Pandey, because they trust the Badoni to come in at 5 and play that role.
Do someone like that.
Yeah, I hope so, but you never know. Maybe Abhishek Sharma is that guy for us.
Yeah. Shout out to Kuldeep Yadav as well. I felt he bowled really well. The 3.02 wicket, wet ball.
And an important wicket of Quinton also.
Important wicket of Quinton. He got them back into the game.
After and he took over the responsibility of finishing the over when Nokia went berserk.
So those are some good signs. Even I think Lalit Yadav bowled really well along with Akshar Patel. So the spinners are doing a good job for Delhi. Is just they need Nokia back into form, right?
Also, I think they'll be worried about the Shardul Thakur's form.
Yeah,
because I think he
Thakur and Nokia, I mean, Thakur picked up a wicket, but I get you. Because look, if you look at this economy, Mustafizur 6.5, Lalit 5.25, Aksar 5.5, Kuldeep 8.45, but 2 wickets.
Yeah.
So, leg spinner, okay, he will get hit.
Because
But
Shardul is your front stay fast bowler. He's your mainstay fast bowler. You don't have that many. I mean, of course, you have Nokia and Fizz, but I'm talking about your Indian mainstay fast bowler is Shardul. So he's pretty much taking up the responsibility of an Avish Khan, and he in that Delhi team, and he's not living up to the potential. So a Shardul Thakur form will be a worry for Delhi.
yeah, 100%. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Done. Just very quickly, I'll get your thoughts on tomorrow's game. Is Punjab versus Gujarat Titans. Is exciting game, man. Exciting game. Now, whenever I see Hardik Pandya's name, I get excited these days. I'm really interested to see like the way he's batting, bowling, fielding, captaining, and they're playing against the Punjab side who are also been very exciting. They've been hot and cold this season. It should be a cracker.
I
Will
mean, out
Punjab,
of 3 games, they won 2, so Punjab is not looking that bad. I also mentioned
they're
about them
really good.
losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking a good side, and this is
But
going to
like
be a good game.
that game that they lost was like sudden like
Yeah, yeah.
so it's
That's
like
a typical Punjab loss.
yeah. So but will they break Gujarat's winning streak?
I think so. I think so. I think in the early stages of the tournament, I think with the way things are going, I think uh, uh, Punjab is looking the most solid side because of the fact that Liam Livingston showed up. That's the kind of Punjab's bowling is a worry. I've said this in every single podcast we talk about Punjab, but Punjab's bowling is a worry. But they get those 20 extra runs from their batting, especially when a Liam Livingston goes berserk like he did. They have the capability in like Shikhar Dhawan and Mayank Agarwal. They really haven't gotten going, but when they get going, they are a good solid unit, to play with. And then they have Johnny Bairstow coming in. Rajapaksa is looking good. So they have these options that they can work with. They're not worried. They're not like struggling to find they're not struggling to find some backups if they need. They can chop and change a few things and get more players in if needed. Rabada, coming into this is a solid side. So I think that I'm worried about it's interesting because I think that Gujarat's bowling is very good, but their batting is susceptible, and
Yeah.
Punjab's batting is very good, but their bowling is susceptible. So it's going to be a very interesting mix tomorrow. Who can kind of play that margins a little bit better will come out victorious. But it's going to be a very good game because a good bowling side against a good batting side, but then a weak bowling side against a weak batting side. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how that
The,
plays
the
out.
thing though, Punjab do have Rabada and Rahul Chahar who they will bank on. But the thing is, if everyone's going bad, they can also have a tendency to get
Exactly. These are the only two players. Anyone around them is a problem. So you
is a
have
problem.
8 good overs, but it's almost like a Sunrisers when Rashid was good,
Yeah.
and nobody else was around him was performing.
So
So
yeah, that's the thing. Support cast. Arshdeep needs to step up a bit with the
yeah.
slow deliveries and everything. But I think you're right. Rabada in charge there. Whereas Gujarat
And
are
you're expecting a Harmanpreet Brar to give you 4 overs. It's a little bit too much. There's a lot over there that they have to start thinking about.
a punter's asking, "What's up, man? Vijay still one down, or someone else like Manish Pandey dropped?"
I think that they don't have a choice. Like here, because Badoni really stepped up, they have this opportunity to be able to drop someone like a Manish Pandey. Even though Manish Pandey is more experienced and everything, but you can because Badoni has just come out and taken it by storm. So that's why I think it's a good. They are able to do that. But who are you going to replace? Gujarat doesn't have
You
a
look
player.
at it, man. This team has two Indian all-rounders, which is a rarity in India.
Yeah,
Two Indian
yeah.
medium pace all-rounders.
Because Vijay Shankar and Hardik
Yeah,
at 3 and 4. So yeah,
that's wild, man.
yeah.
But
And
yeah,
and I
that's the
and I
problem
think
with
that the
you have
problem
Shubman Gill,
is.
Matthew Wade, then
Yeah, and the problem is at 3 and then at 5, David Miller, I'm not okay with that. That's just not a good enough batting side for me. That's why I think they'll be found out, and I think they'll miss out on top 4 because of that.
because you need David Miller of 2013 to show up, otherwise it becomes very
David
difficult.
Miller of 2013 is a long time back, boss.
Yeah,
So,
that's the problem. Number 5 and number 6, who is their batsman?
who's
I
that
think
number
that's
6? I
another.
forgot. Completely forgotten what their team looks like. Not completely, but
Because Hardik Pandya for India.
Tewatia. They're playing Tewatia at
Yes,
6.
they had
Yeah.
some. So that's what they're depending on. They're depending on individual brilliances, kind of, and
Yeah.
I think their bowling will be. The thing is
Bowling
that
is strong with Lockie. You have Shami, you have Rash. You have 12 very good overs, and then you have someone like Varun Aaron who gives you speed
that's the
who gives
only
you
issue.
pace.
That's the only issue.
But
But
he
I'm
gives you
still,
pace though. He gives you
I'm
pace.
backing this team to defend 150, 160. I'm defending. I would back them, but of course it won't happen every single time. But I think it just runs on the board. That's where Shubman Gill. If Shubman Gill can have a stellar
Good
IPL
season.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
it can really help Gujarat make it to the top four. Because you need somebody in your top four batting to perform consistently. If you have a team like this, then your bowlers can handle it, right?
They're one big injury away from completely getting out of this. Let's say someone like God forbid someone like a Hardik Pandya is injured, this season is over
Yeah.
for them. It's over.
Contesting, they also have Manohar. Yeah, he batted really well in the first
Abhinav
game. A
Manohar,
good
yeah.
contribution.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? Like we don't. We'll have to see.
If he can go and do if about 75% of what Badoni does, then suddenly this team starts to look better. But
Yeah.
getting a kind of you get once like last season you saw Gaikwad, this season you're
But
seeing a
like, yeah,
Badoni. It's like one or two players only at that most.
let's wrap up this show because I know that you have to go. I want to ask you this question.
That's fine. I have 5 more minutes.
I just wanted to ask you this question. Now, just tell me about Badoni, right? We saw Paul Bartati score 300s. Everybody at that time was saying this guy's the next big thing. Put him in the Indian team. He's the best. He's the best. How do the selectors treat this kind of situation? Because
They need to be more
he
patient.
looks amazing and everything, no doubt. But like carried
They
away.
need to be more patient.
Yeah.
They need to be more patient. I think
Remember
there's a
Paul
lot.
Bartati, right?
Yeah, of course. Rajasthan Royals was it?
Punjab.
Yeah. Those straight down the ground sixes.
Yeah, back-to-back hundreds, bro. It's not a joke. It's triple of what Badoni did.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think Paul Bartati, I think he had an eye problem and things just didn't work out for him and everything. But anyway, they need to be patient. There's no way you can continue doing that. But I see like I see this hunger in this guy. This kid wants to do well. But you'll have to be very patient. There's a lot of players who do well and are still struggling to find the Indian call up.
There's a lot of calls for Gaikwad to be in the T20 World Cup, and
and then look where that's gotten.
Have the same calls now for the next.
Only thing that's going in Badoni's favor is that he's that middle order finisher that we don't have.
Yeah.
So if he can contribute a couple overs with the ball, you suddenly have a different player, and then because they're taking Venkatesh Iyer, who's typically opening to play in that number 6 role, right? So the only thing, maybe he'll be springboarded a little bit, but I think you have to be patient with him. Badoni is still not ready for Indian cricket for sure, but it's just good to see that he's available, and if he can continue doing what he's doing, then he has some chances.
Yeah, Padra Singh, Shami, Loki, Rashid, Hardik, or Bolt, Chahal, Ashwin, Prasidh, Krishna, your pick of bowling.
Oof. I'm just going to go with Rajasthan's pick because I can't deal with having Rashid in any upward thing.
I'm going with Gujarat, man, because I look at that, Ashwin was very poor in that
match.
He
was very poor. He was very, very poor. Yeah, true.
Poor in that game. I mean, tomorrow, again, you might criticize the Gujarat bowling as well, but I think, Ferguson has that extra pace.
Yeah. But that Prasidh brings that extra pace too, but I feel like I think that experience of Chahal and Ashwin over there helpful. Rash, of course, he's good, and then Hardik Pandya, will he continue to give you all 4 overs? When will his back give way?
Yeah,
that's my thing.
And let's watch out for his captaincy. He's been enjoying it so far. He's been doing well.
He's really thriving. He's enjoying that extra responsibility.
Yeah, I think he's much more calm now, and the coffee experience really helped him. And it's gonna be fun, man. Let's see. Your prediction is Punjab.
Punjab to win tomorrow.
Yeah.
Punjab to win tomorrow. For me, Shikhar Dhawan to have a good innings tomorrow. Big innings tomorrow.
Shikhar Dhawan. Okay, sounds good, man. I want Punjab to win for Ashish, but I'll go Gujarat, bro. Like Hardik Pandya, my boy.
Ashish owes me one on Saturday. Let him know that.
And also, Ashish is the one who said that Hardik Pandya is better than Ben Stokes, the best all-rounder in the world. So now he's up against the best all-rounder in the world. Said this a few years back before the injury and all that.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be. Let's see. It's
sometimes you have to take Ashish's comments and you have to filter it out a little.
But it's gonna be a good game. Punter Singh, Gujarat is a fluke. He's very upset with Gujarat.
I genuinely think Gujarat will not make the top 4, even though they won the first cup.
He's not saying this, but he's upset because Gujarat has that Mumbai kind of influence.
Yes, of course. We spoke about it yesterday too.
Yeah, I think that's what he's upset about. But he's saying Gujarat is a fluke. Let's see. We'll find out tomorrow. It's going to be a big game, exciting game. I think it's going to go down to the wire. We might have our first super over. I hope I'm close to the prediction.
Sunil Gavaskar has made 16 of these predictions by now.
I just feel these two teams are.
He enjoys it.
Any result can happen, and maybe that will just lead to some.
Yeah, these are the two kind of hyper teams in this tournament. Yeah. So it's going to be fun to watch. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Don, for joining me, and I will catch you tomorrow, man.
Always take care.